Please remember, this presentation is for informational purposes only and is not intended as legal or financial advice. Always consult with a qualified professional, like a real estate attorney or financial advisor, for your specific situation. Imagine this. You've found the perfect house. The boxes are packed, the kids have picked their rooms, and the moving truck is scheduled for Saturday. Then you get the call from your agent 24 hours before closing. There's a problem. A paperwork error, an unexpected lien, a last-minute financing snag. Suddenly, your dream is on the verge of becoming a financial nightmare. This exact scenario derails thousands of home sales across the U.S. every single month. But it absolutely does not have to be your story. We are about to break down the most common, costly, and soul-crushing mistakes buyers and sellers make during the closing process, giving you the playbook to ensure your closing day is a victory, not a disaster. Let's start with the mistake that can cost you everything in a single click. We'll call it the 11th hour heist. Imagine this. It's the day before your closing. You've packed the boxes, you've arranged the movers, the excitement is so thick you can taste it. An email pops into your inbox. It's from someone you trust, or so you think. Maybe it looks like it's from your title company or your real estate attorney. The logo is perfect, the signature is correct. The email says, "Urgent update. Due to a last-minute system change, please use these new wiring instructions for your closing funds." Seems plausible. It's professional. You're busy, you're stressed, and you just want to check this final box. So you log into your bank account, you carefully type in the new account and routing numbers, and with a deep breath, you transfer your entire life savings. $100,000, $300,000, maybe more. And then silence. You send a follow-up email to confirm receipt. No reply. You call the title company. They're confused. They say, "We never sent you new instructions. We haven't received any funds." And in that single horrifying moment, the floor drops out from under your world. Your money is gone. It's not in an escrow account. It's in a scammer's account, likely already bouncing through a dozen international banks, untraceable and unrecoverable. Your dream home is gone. Your down payment is gone. This isn't a scare tactic. It is a rampant, devastatingly effective form of real estate fraud that steals billions of dollars from American homebuyers every year. So how do you make sure this never ever happens to you? The defense is surprisingly simple, but it requires absolute discipline. Rule number 1, and burn this into your brain. Never ever under any circumstances trust wiring instructions sent via email. I don't care how legitimate it looks. I don't care if it appears to be a reply in a long-standing email chain. Scammers are sophisticated. They hack into the email accounts of real estate agents, lawyers, or title companies, and they wait patiently for weeks, monitoring the transaction. They know your name, your property address, your closing date, and the exact amount of money you're supposed to bring. They are masters of social engineering, and they strike at the moment you are most vulnerable, the chaotic final 48 hours before closing. The playbook to defeat them has only one move, but it's a checkmate. Before you ever initiate a wire transfer, you must verbally confirm the instructions. This doesn't mean calling the number in the suspicious email signature. That number almost certainly goes to the scammer. You must find an independent, trusted source for the phone number of your title company or attorney. Look at the original documents you received at the very beginning of the process. Go to their official website, making sure you type the address in correctly. Call them, speak to a human being you know and trust, and have them read the account and routing numbers to you over the phone as you read them back. It might feel awkward. It might feel like you're being paranoid. Do it anyway. A 5-minute phone call is the only thing standing between you and financial ruin. If anyone rushes you or makes you feel silly for double-checking, that is a massive red flag. A legitimate professional will applaud your diligence. A scammer will pressure you. Choose the 5-minute phone call. Now, let's say you've successfully navigated that minefield. Your money is safely with the escrow agent. You're just 24 hours from getting the keys. You might be tempted to think the hard part is over. This leads us to the second catastrophic mistake, the ghost walkthrough. This is where buyers either skip the final walkthrough entirely or treat it like a casual 5-minute victory lap. This is not a victory lap. This is your last line of defense. Let me tell you about Jessica. First-time homebuyer, incredibly excited. Her final walkthrough was scheduled for the morning of closing day. But the movers were at her apartment, her boss was calling, and she was exhausted. She met her agent at the new house, walked in, saw it was empty, glanced around and said, Looks good. Total time inside 3 minutes. She went to closing, signed the papers, and got the keys. That evening she walked into her new home, ready to celebrate. But the celebration died in her throat. The gorgeous high-end stainless steel refrigerator that was supposed to be included in the sale? Gone. In its place was an old, dented, off-white model from the 1990s. The custom-fit blinds in the living room? Gone, leaving empty brackets screwed into the wall. And worst of all, when she went down to the basement, she found a dark, wet stain spreading across the concrete floor. A leak from a pipe that had clearly been cleverly concealed by the seller's storage boxes, which were now gone. The sellers were already in another state, their phones turned off. The papers were signed. The house and all its problems was now hers. Jessica's story is a painful lesson in the true purpose of the final walkthrough. It is not another home inspection to find new problems. Its purpose is to verify two critical things. 1. That the home is in substantially the same condition it was in when you signed the contract, accounting for normal wear and tear. And 2. That all agreed-upon repairs from the initial home inspection have been completed satisfactorily. This is your final chance to hold the seller accountable. After you sign those closing papers, your leverage drops to virtually zero. So how do you do a walkthrough like a pro? First, bring your tools. This means your buyer's agent, your original inspection report, and the purchase agreement. Don't rely on memory. Your contract specifies what stays and what goes. These are called inclusions and exclusions. Check that every single included appliance, light fixture, and window treatment is still there. Then be methodical. Don't just look, test. Turn on every single light switch. Run the hot and cold water in every faucet and look for leaks underneath the sinks. Flush every toilet. Run the garbage disposal and the exhaust fans. Turn on the heat and the air conditioning regardless of the season to make sure both are working. Open and close every window and door. Test the garage door opener. Look for any new damage that might have occurred when the sellers moved out. Big scratches on the hardwood floors, dents in the drywall, a cracked tile you know wasn't there before. And if you negotiated for repairs to be done, bring the receipts and documentation the seller provided and verify the work was actually completed. If you find a problem, a missing refrigerator, a new leak, an incomplete repair, do not panic but do not close. Immediately call your agent and the closing attorney. This is precisely why you do the walkthrough before you sign. You have leverage. You can negotiate for the seller to pay for a repair, to provide a credit at closing, or in a serious case to have funds held in escrow until the issue is resolved. Skipping this step is like sprinting 26 miles of a marathon and then tripping 1 foot before the finish line. You've dodged the wire fraud bullet and you've meticulously inspected the property. You're finally ready. You walk into the title company office, sit down at a long mahogany table, and a smiling closer pushes a stack of paper towards you that's 2 inches thick. You pick up the pen, but right there, hidden in that mountain of jargon and fine print, is the next mistake that can haunt you for years to come. The mistake is thinking your signature is just a formality. It's the final step, the finish line. You're exhausted. You've battled through bidding wars, navigated inspections, and chased down underwriters for weeks. Now all that stands between you and the keys to your new life is a pen and a pile of paper. The pressure in that room is immense. Everyone is smiling, waiting. The title agent, your real estate agent, maybe even the sellers. Feels like a celebration. And in that moment, it is so tempting to just trust the process, to assume everyone has done their job, and to just sign. But that stack of paper isn't a guest book. It's a series of legally binding contracts that will dictate your financial reality for the next 30 years. And the single most important document in that pile, the one that deserves your undivided forensic-level attention, is called the closing disclosure, or the CD. Think of the closing disclosure as the final report card for your entire home purchase. Every promise, every negotiation, every fee, and every dollar is supposed to be laid bare on these 5 pages. Federal law mandates that you, the buyer, must receive this document at least 3 full business days before your scheduled closing. This isn't a suggestion. It's the law. And it's not designed to be an inconvenience. It's designed to be your shield. It's a mandatory cooling-off period, a golden window of opportunity for you to catch the errors that could cost you a fortune. Ignoring this 3-day review period is like being handed the answers to a final exam and deciding to just wing it instead. So what are you looking for? Let's break it down. Because this is where you transform from a hopeful homebuyer into a savvy financial detective. First, the simple stuff. Page 1. Your name. Your spouse's name. The property address. The seller's name. Is everything spelled correctly? Is the address perfect right down to the zip code? You might think, oh, a small typo, who cares? You should care. A misspelled name or an incorrect address can create a nightmare for the title record, causing massive problems years down the line when you try to sell or refinance. It's the easiest thing to check and the easiest thing to fix before you sign. Next, and this is the heavyweight champion of the document, the loan terms. This is the DNA of your mortgage. You need to compare this section, line by line, with the loan estimate you received when you first applied. Does the loan amount match exactly what you agreed to? Is the interest rate the precise rate you locked in? Don't glance at it. Scrutinize it. A lender who accidentally bumps your rate from 6.5% to 6.625% might seem like a tiny change. It's only an eighth of a point, right? Wrong. On a $400,000 loan, that tiny mistake will cost you over $6,500 in extra interest over the life of the loan. It's a brand new HVAC system. It's a family vacation to Hawaii. It's money that should be in your pocket, not the bank's. Look at the loan type. Did you agree to a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage? Make sure it doesn't suddenly say adjustable rate or have a balloon payment feature you never discussed. An unexpected adjustable rate mortgage or ARM can feel fine for the first few years, but when that rate starts adjusting upwards, your affordable monthly payment can explode, potentially putting you at risk of foreclosure. And then, look for the poison pill, the prepayment penalty. Does this loan have one? This is a nasty clause that says if you pay off your mortgage early, either by selling the house or refinancing for a better rate, you have to pay the bank a penalty fee. It's a financial trap designed to keep you locked in. Make sure that box is checked no, unless you specifically and strategically agreed to this for some other benefit. Now let's move to the second page, the closing cost details. This is where the numbers can get overwhelming, a long list of fees from a dozen different parties. Lender fees, title fees, appraisal fees, recording fees. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. But again, your secret weapon is that original loan estimate. The law groups these fees into 3 categories of tolerance. Some fees have zero tolerance. This means they cannot increase at all from the loan estimate to the closing disclosure. These include the lender's origination charge and any fees you paid for locking in your interest rate. If these numbers have gone up by even a single dollar, you need to raise hell. It's not just unfair, it's illegal. Other fees have a 10% tolerance. This group includes things like title services and recording fees. The total cost for these services can't increase by more than 10% from your loan estimate. If it does, the lender has to cover the difference. Then there are the fees that can change without limit, like prepaid interest, property taxes, and homeowner's insurance. You still need to verify these, but they are allowed to fluctuate. This is where you need to put on your glasses and get out a calculator. Go line by line. Do you see a document processing fee or a funding fee that wasn't there before? Question it. I had a friend, let's call him Dave, who was sitting at his kitchen table 2 nights before closing, going through his CD with a red pen. He found a $1,200 loan administration fee that was completely absent from his original estimate. He felt awkward calling his loan officer so late, but he did. The loan officer mumbled something about a standard charge. Dave stood his ground. He said, "It wasn't on the estimate, and it has zero tolerance for change. It needs to be removed." There was a long pause. The next morning, he received a revised closing disclosure. The $1,200 fee was gone. That one uncomfortable phone call saved him over $1,000. He earned $1,000 an hour for being diligent. You can too. Finally, you get to the bottom line, the big one, the cash to close amount. This is the final number you need to bring to the table, either as a cashier's check or a wire transfer. This number is your down payment, plus all those closing costs we just talked about, minus any earnest money deposit you've already paid, and minus any credits the seller agreed to give you. Does this final number make sense? Do you understand how they arrived at it? If it's higher than you expected, you need to work your way back up the page and find out why right then and there. Walking into a closing with the wrong amount of money can delay the entire process, and in a worst-case scenario, even put you in breach of contract. You have 3 days. 3 days to become the world's leading expert on your own mortgage. Use them. Don't let anyone, not your agent, not your loan officer, not the closer, rush you. Their job is to get the deal closed. Your job is to protect your financial future. They are not the same thing. Ask questions. What is this fee for? Why did this number change? Can you please explain this section to me? There is no such thing as a stupid question when your signature is about to lock you into the single largest financial commitment of your life. So you've scrutinized every line item, you've questioned every fee, and your closing disclosure is perfect. You know the exact dollar amount you need to bring. Now comes the moment of truth, getting that money, often the largest sum you've ever handled, to the right place at the right time. And in that simple act lies one of the most terrifying and financially devastating mistakes you can possibly make. It's called wire fraud, and it's not some theoretical bogeyman. It's a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise that preys specifically on the chaos and anxiety of the real estate closing process. The FBI calls it one of the fastest-growing cybercrimes in the United States. And you are the prime target. Picture the scene. It's 48 hours before your closing. You're a wreck. You're coordinating movers, packing boxes, calling utility companies, and trying to keep your job and family afloat. Your inbox is a war zone of emails from your agent, your lender, your attorney, and the title company. Then an email lands. It looks perfect. It has the title company's logo, the correct property address, your name, the exact amount for your down payment and closing costs, down to the penny. The signature line has the name of the escrow officer you've been corresponding with for weeks. The subject line reads, "Urgent. Updated wiring instructions for your closing." The email explains that due to a last-minute system update, or an internal audit, or some other plausible-sounding reason, the funds need to be sent to a new account. It stresses in bold letters that to avoid a delay in your closing, you must wire the money to this new account immediately. Your heart pounds. A delay is the last thing you want. You've already given notice at your apartment, the moving truck is booked. A delay could cost you the house. So you do exactly what the email says. You log into your bank, you painstakingly type in the new routing and account numbers, you double-check the amount, and you hit send. A wave of relief washes over you. The single biggest financial transaction of your life is done. You've sent your life savings, $100, $200, maybe $500,000, off into the digital ether. And it's gone. Forever. You've just sent every penny to a scammer, likely on the other side of the world. The email wasn't from your title company. It was a sophisticated fake, a digital forgery so perfect it would fool almost anyone. The criminals had been inside your email, or your agent's email, for weeks, silently watching, learning every detail of your transaction. They waited for the perfect moment of maximum stress to strike. And by the time you discover the mistake, maybe a day later when the real title company calls asking where the money is, it's far too late. The funds have been bounced through a series of shell accounts and withdrawn. The FBI can open a case, but they'll be blunt. The chances of recovery are practically zero. This is not just losing money. This is a life-altering catastrophe. Your dream home is gone. Your earnest money is gone. Your entire down payment, the money you spent years, maybe decades saving and sacrificing for, has vanished in the span of 5 minutes. The emotional devastation is often worse than the financial loss. People feel a profound sense of shame, of foolishness, even though they are the victims of a highly sophisticated crime. It's a nightmare from which there is no waking up. So how do you prevent this from happening? How do you build an impenetrable fortress around your life savings? It comes down to one simple, unbreakable, non-negotiable rule. You must personally and verbally confirm the wiring instructions with a known, trusted contact using a phone number that you have independently verified. Let's break that down because every single word in that sentence is critical. You do not trust any wiring instructions you receive via email. Period. I don't care if the email came with a video of your escrow officer holding today's newspaper while singing the national anthem. You treat it as a potential forgery. You do not call the phone number listed in that email. That number will connect you directly to the scammer, who will happily confirm the fraudulent account details for you. You do not reply to the email to ask if it's legitimate. You will be corresponding with the criminal. Here is the precise step-by-step process that will save you from financial ruin. First, find a piece of paper you received at the very beginning of the transaction, the initial welcome packet from the title company, the original contract, or your lawyer's engagement letter. Find the phone number for your contact on that original document. If you can't find it, go to Google, search for the title company's official office, and use the number listed on their public website. Second, you call that number. You get your escrow officer, your paralegal, your attorney, the actual human being you've been dealing with on the phone. You say these words: "I have received the wiring instructions and I need to verbally confirm them with you before I send anything." Then, you read the account number and the routing number out loud, digit by digit. And you have them confirm digit by digit that it is correct. This 10-digit number is the key. The scammers can fake a logo, an email address, a signature. They cannot fake a real-time verbal confirmation with a legitimate professional. This is the one moment in the entire home buying process where paranoia is your best friend. Be suspicious. If your contact suddenly starts using different phrasing in their emails, if they're pushing you with an unusual sense of urgency, if anything feels even slightly off, stop. Pick up the phone. A 5-minute phone call is the only thing standing between you and a lifetime of regret. And while you're on that call, ask another crucial question. Is a cashier's check an option? Many title companies are moving away from them, but some still accept a cashier's check, especially for closings held in person. It's an old-school method, but it is virtually immune to the kind of fraud we're talking about. You go to your bank, you get a certified check made out directly to the title company, and you physically hand it to them at the closing table. It might feel less convenient, but that small inconvenience is a tiny price to pay for absolute peace of mind. So you've made the call. You've confirmed the numbers. You've successfully wired the money, and the title company has confirmed receipt. The single greatest financial hurdle is cleared. A huge weight lifts from your shoulders. You're finally ready. You walk into the closing office, your agent gives you a reassuring nod, and the closing agent slides a stack of paper towards you that's thick enough to be a phone book for a small city. Your pen is in your hand, you're filled with excitement and exhaustion, and you're about to make the next critical mistake. Signing documents you don't fully understand. Because buried in that mountain of legalese are the final numbers, the fine print, and the financial commitments that will govern your life for the next 30 years. And assuming they're all correct without one last, careful review is like running a marathon and tripping 1 inch before the finish line. So let's talk about that finish line. It's a 5-page document called the Closing Disclosure, or CD. This is it. This is the final, non-negotiable, legally binding summary of your entire transaction. Your loan terms, your final closing costs, the exact amount of money you need to bring to the table. It's all there in black and white. And federal law gives you a superpower to wield against last-minute mistakes. The 3-day rule. Your lender is legally required to give you the final closing disclosure at least 3 full business days before your scheduled closing. This isn't a friendly suggestion. It's your right. It was put in place to stop the old high-pressure tactic of shoving a mountain of paperwork in front of a buyer at the closing table and saying, "Sign here, here, and here." That 3-day window is your golden opportunity. It is your mandatory cooling-off period to become a financial detective. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take that closing disclosure and compare it line by line against the loan estimate you received when you first applied for the mortgage. These 2 documents should be cousins, not strangers. If they look wildly different, you have a problem. First, look at the big stuff on page 1. The loan terms. Is the loan amount correct? Is the interest rate the exact rate you locked in? A 1/4 percentage point might not sound like much, but over 30 years it can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Is the loan product what you agreed to? I once heard about a buyer who was so focused on the monthly payment that he didn't notice the lender had switched him from a 30-year fixed-rate loan to a 5-to-1 adjustable rate mortgage. For the first 5 years everything was great. But in year 6, when that rate adjusted, his payment skyrocketed by $700 a month. He almost lost the house, all because he didn't double-check one box on one page. Is there a prepayment penalty? You need to know if you'll be punished for trying to pay your mortgage off early. Next, check the projected payments. This is your pity. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. The principal and interest should be stable if you have a fixed-rate loan. But look closely at the property taxes and homeowner's insurance. These are often held in an escrow account, and lenders sometimes use lowball estimates to make the initial monthly payment look more attractive. If that estimate is too low, you're in for a nasty shock a year later when the escrow analysis reveals a shortfall, and your monthly payment jumps significantly to cover it. Ask yourself, does this tax estimate seem realistic for my area? Did they use the correct quote for my homeowner's insurance policy? Don't just trust their numbers, verify them. Now turn to page 2, the closing cost details. This is where the real forensic work begins. These costs are broken into categories. Some fees have zero tolerance, meaning they cannot legally be higher on your closing disclosure than they were on your loan estimate. This includes the lender's origination fee, any points you paid to lower your interest rate, and the appraisal and credit report fees if you use providers selected by the lender. If these numbers have increased by even $1, you need to raise a red flag immediately. It's often a simple clerical error, but it's a mistake in their favor, not yours. Then there's the 10% tolerance category. These are third-party services that the lender requires you to use, like the title search and settlement agent fees. The total cost of these services can't increase by more than 10% from the loan estimate. It's not a 10% cap on each individual fee, but on the whole group combined. Do the math. Add them all up on your loan estimate, then add them all up on your closing disclosure. If the increase is more than 10%, the lender has to cover the difference. Finally, there are the no tolerance or unlimited tolerance fees. These are costs for services you could shop for yourself, like your own title insurance company or a pest inspector, plus things like prepaid interest and your initial escrow deposit. While these can change, they still need to be reasonable. If your prepaid property taxes seem astronomically high, question it. If the title insurance fee is double what you were quoted, find out why. All of this detective work culminates in the most important number on the whole document, the final cash to close figure. This is the exact dollar amount you need to bring to the closing, typically in the form of a cashier's check or wire transfer. This number is your down payment, plus all those closing costs we just talked about, minus any earnest money deposit you've already paid, and minus any credits you're receiving from the seller or lender. You need to know this number is correct down to the penny, because showing up to closing with the wrong amount is a deal-stopping catastrophe. And that brings us to the fifth major mistake, ignoring the prorations and credits. This sounds complicated, but the concept is simple: fairness. The seller lived in the house for part of the year, and you're going to live in it for the other part. So, you have to split the annual bills. The most common one is property taxes. Let's say the annual tax bill is $12,000, and it's paid at the end of the year. If you close exactly on July 1st, halfway through the year, the seller has lived there for 6 months. They are responsible for their half of the taxes, $6,000. At closing, they will give you a $6,000 credit. You'll take that money, and then at the end of the year, you'll be responsible for paying the full $12,000 bill. Prorations ensure that nobody pays for a day they didn't own the property. This applies to HOA dues too. Check these dates and calculations carefully. A simple math error could cost you hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. But the most critical thing to look for is seller credits. Remember that inspection where you found the water heater was on its last legs. You negotiated a $2,000 credit from the seller to replace it. Or maybe you negotiated for the seller to pay 3% of your closing costs. These are real dollars, your dollars that you fought for. Now you have to make absolutely sure they appear on the closing disclosure. It's astonishing how often these negotiated credits are simply missed. They're left off the final paperwork. I worked with a young couple, David and Emily, who were buying their first home. They'd negotiated a $10,000 credit from the seller to cover some necessary foundation repairs. It was a huge part of what made the deal work for their budget. They got their closing disclosure, and in the excitement of it all, they just glanced at the final cash to close number. Felt right, so they didn't think twice. But something was nagging at me. I asked them to send it over. I scanned down the columns of numbers and my heart sank. The $10,000 credit was nowhere to be found. The settlement agent had simply missed it in the final calculations. Had they gone to closing, they would have overpaid by $10,000. They would have wiped out a huge chunk of their savings, and it would have been an absolute nightmare trying to get that money back after the fact. We made one phone call, the document was corrected, and a new CD was issued. They saved themselves a decade's worth of financial stress with a 10-minute review. So do not just glance at the bottom line. Scrutinize every credit you are owed. This isn't just paperwork. It's a final accounting of the biggest purchase of your life. Verifying these numbers is your last line of defense. You've done all the hard work to get here. You've inspected the home's foundation, its plumbing, its roof. Now, you must inspect the financial foundation of the deal itself with the same level of care. Because once you've confirmed that every number is perfect and every credit is accounted for, you might think you're finally safe. You're ready to sign. But there's one last trip you absolutely must take before your hand ever touches that pen. A final visit to the property itself, where a last-minute disaster could be hiding in plain sight, threatening to demolish the entire deal just hours before it closes. This final walkthrough isn't just a casual stroll through your future home. It's a high-stakes inspection, your last chance to catch a catastrophe before you inherit it. It's the difference between popping champagne in your new living room and calling a disaster restoration crew before you've even unpacked a single box. Imagine this. A young couple, let's call them Mark and Sarah, are 24 hours from closing on their dream home. They're exhausted. They've been packing for weeks, coordinating movers, changing their address everywhere. Their agent calls. Time for the final walkthrough. Mark sighs into the phone. Is that really necessary? We were just there for the inspection a month ago. The sellers seem great. What could have possibly changed? It's a tempting thought, isn't it? The deal feels done. You're in the end zone, ready to spike the football. Why run one more play? But their agent, a seasoned pro who's seen it all, was firm. We're going. It'll take an hour. Trust me. So they reluctantly drive over to the house. The lawn is mowed, the front porch is swept. It looks perfect. They unlock the door, step into the foyer, and Sarah immediately stops. She looks up. Mark follows her gaze. There on the pristine white ceiling is a dark, ugly water stain the size of a dinner plate. It wasn't there before. They race upstairs. The sellers had moved out that morning, and in their haste, a connection on the washing machine had come loose. A slow, steady drip, drip, drip for 12 straight hours. The laundry room floor was soaked. The water had seeped through the subfloor, ruining the ceiling below, and was now starting to warp the brand new hardwood floors in the dining room. It was a $10,000 disaster that had unfolded in the time it took them to pack their last few boxes. If they had skipped that walkthrough, if they had gone straight to closing and signed the papers, that $10,000 problem would have become their problem instantly. Their homeowner's insurance might have covered some of it, but not without a hefty deductible and the nightmare of a major claim on day one. Instead, because they held all the cards. The closing was delayed, the seller's insurance company was called, and the repairs were made at the seller's expense. They avoided a financial and emotional catastrophe with a 1-hour visit. This brings us to the sixth, and perhaps most deceptively simple mistake to avoid: treating the final walkthrough as a mere formality. It is not a victory lap. It is your final critical mission. Skipping it or even just rushing through it is like a pilot deciding not to do a pre-flight check because the last flight went fine. So how do you do it right? How do you transform from a hopeful homebuyer into a hawk-eyed inspector for this one crucial hour? You need a battle plan. First, timing is everything. The ideal time for your walkthrough is within 24 hours of closing, and this is critical. After the sellers have completely moved out. An empty house tells no lies. You can see the walls, the floors, the corners. More importantly, most damage happens during a move. A sofa scrapes a wall, a heavy box is dropped on a tile floor. A mover dings the door frame. You need to see the aftermath. Second, bring your toolkit. I'm not talking about a hammer and nails. Your toolkit for the walkthrough consists of 4 things. 1. A copy of your inspection report. 2. A copy of your purchase agreement, specifically the pages that list repairs the seller agreed to make and the items that are supposed to be included with the house. 3. Your phone for its camera and flashlight. And 4. A simple phone charger. Yes, a phone charger. It's the easiest way to test every single electrical outlet in the house. Now for the mission itself. Don't just wander aimlessly. You need a system. I call it the 4-quadrant inspection. Quadrant 1 is the contract check. This is where you pull out your documents. Go to the spot of every single repair the seller agreed to make after the inspection. Did they just paint over the water stain, or did they actually fix the leak in the roof that caused it? Did they replace that broken window or just patch it? Verify every single item. Next, check the inclusions. Your contract says the high-end stainless steel refrigerator and the custom blinds are staying. Are they there? And more importantly, are they the same ones? It is not unheard of for a seller to swap out an expensive appliance for a cheap one after the showing, hoping you won't notice. Check the model numbers if you have to. You are buying what you were promised, not a lesser version. Quadrant 2 is the systems check. This is where you become a button pusher. And you push every button. Turn on the heat. Turn on the air conditioning. Yes, both, even if it's 90 degrees outside. Let them run for a few minutes. Do they work? Turn on every single light switch. Test every outlet with your phone charger. Go into the kitchen. Run the garbage disposal. Turn on the exhaust fan. Run the dishwasher for a few minutes. In the bathrooms, run the water in every sink and shower. Let it run long enough to see if you get hot water. Check the water pressure. While the water is running, open the cabinets underneath and use your phone's flashlight to check for any new drips or leaks. Flush every toilet. Open and close the garage door with the automatic opener. You are stress testing the house's vital organs one last time. Quadrant 3 is the damage and debris check. Now that the house is empty, you're looking for two things. What's new and what's been left behind. Walk the perimeter of every room. Look for fresh dents and dings in the drywall. Look for deep scratches on the hardwood floors. These are classic signs of a rushed move out. And what about what's left behind? Most contracts state the property should be left in broom-clean condition. This means the sellers can't just leave their unwanted junk for you to deal with. Piles of trash in the garage, old paint cans in the basement, a broken lawnmower in the shed. The cost to remove all that can add up. It's their responsibility to clear it out, not yours. Finally, quadrant 4 is the exterior sweep. Don't forget the outside of the house. Walk the entire property. Are there any new broken fence posts? Any damage to the siding? Is the backyard free of debris? Turn on the outdoor spigots to make sure they work and haven't been frozen over the winter. A quick look around the outside can save you from a nasty surprise later. Okay, so what if you do all this and you find a problem? Your heart sinks. You see a cracked window or discover the dishwasher is dead. What do? The first rule is simple. Do not panic. The second rule is even simpler. Do not close. The moment you sign those final papers, you are accepting the property as is. Your leverage drops to virtually zero. That problem is now your problem. Instead, you calmly execute a 3-step plan. Step 1. Document everything. Take clear photos and videos of the issue. Get close-ups. Get wide shots. Create a clear record of what you found. Step 2. Immediately call your real estate agent and your attorney. Don't text, call. Explain the situation clearly. This is precisely why you have them on your team. They will take the lead on communicating with the seller's side. Step 3 is to understand your options, which are usually one of 3 things. The first, and most common for smaller issues, is to simply delay the closing by a day or 2 to give the seller time to fix the problem. If a light fixture is broken, they can have an electrician replace it. Simple. The second option is to negotiate a credit. Let's say the repair will cost about $500. Instead of waiting for the seller to do it, you can ask them to credit you $500 at closing. The money is taken directly from their proceeds and given to you. This way you can control the repair and hire who you want to do it, but it means you have to manage it after you own the home. The third option for more significant issues is an escrow holdback. This is your ultimate protection. Let's say you discover that $10,000 leak from our story. You don't want a rushed, cheap fix from the seller. With a holdback, an agreed-upon amount of the seller's money, say $15,000 to be safe, is held in an escrow account at closing. It doesn't go to the seller. You then move into the house, get the repairs done right, and once they're completed to your satisfaction, the money is released to the seller from escrow. This guarantees the job gets done and you're not left holding the bag. The final walkthrough is your last line of defense. It's the final exam for the house you're about to buy. Don't skip it. Don't rush it. Take it seriously. Because once you leave that house and head to the closing table, the game changes completely. So you've done the walkthrough, everything is perfect, or you've successfully navigated a last-minute crisis. You're finally at the closing table. The finish line is in sight. But a new set of traps awaits you, hidden in a mountain of paperwork nearly a foot high. And the single most expensive mistake you can make is buried on page 3 of a document almost everyone signs without reading. A mistake that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. It's called the promissory note, or sometimes simply the mortgage note. It's not the thickest document in the stack, but it is the most powerful. It's your legally binding promise to pay back hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's the document that says if you don't pay, they can take your home. And hidden within its dense, legal language is a trap that ensnared a couple I know. Let's call them Mark and Sarah. Mark and Sarah were the classic American dream. They'd saved for years, maintained perfect credit, and finally found a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet suburb. They were ecstatic. On closing day, they walked into a sterile conference room, greeted by a smiling title agent and a stack of paper that looked like a ream of printer paper had exploded on the table. They were nervous, excited, and completely overwhelmed. The agent was patient but efficient, flipping through pages, pointing where to sign, initial here, date there. Mark tried to read the first few pages, but the legal jargon made his eyes glaze over. They were focused on the big numbers they understood: the interest rate, the monthly payment, the cash to close. Everything looked right. So with a deep breath and a shared glance, they started signing. page after page, signature after signature, for nearly an hour. They left the office holding a new set of keys, feeling like they had just conquered the world. For 3 years, everything was perfect. They made their payments on time every time. The house became a home. Then life happened. Mark's company offered him a massive promotion, a dream job, but it was in a different state, 1,000 miles away. It was a no-brainer. They had to move. They put their house on the market, and thanks to a hot market, they got a fantastic offer well above what they paid. They were going to walk away with a nice little profit, a perfect nest egg to start their new life. They were in the final stages of selling their home when Mark got a call from their mortgage lender. He was expecting a simple conversation about the final payoff amount. Instead, the loan officer on the other end of the line said something that made the blood drain from his face. "Okay, Mr. Johnson," she said calmly. "So after the remaining principal balance, we'll just need to add the prepayment penalty." Mark was confused. The what? A penalty for paying you back. He actually laughed, thinking it was a mistake. It was no mistake. The loan officer directed him to a clause in his promissory note, the very one he had signed 3 years prior. A clause stating that if they paid off more than 20% of their loan in any given year within the first 5 years, either through a sale or a refinance, they would be hit with a penalty. The penalty wasn't small. It was calculated as 6 months of interest on 80% of their outstanding balance. Mark did the math while still on the phone, his hands shaking. Their remaining balance was about $350,000. The penalty came out to over $9,000. $9,000. Gone. Evaporated from their hard-earned equity, simply for the privilege of paying back the money they owed. They were trapped. They could either pay the $9,000 penalty to sell their house and take the new job, or they could turn down the promotion of a lifetime. Of course, they paid the penalty, but that $9,000 was a bitter, bitter pill to swallow. It was the cost of a single sentence they never read. This, right here, is one of the most devastating and easily avoidable mistakes in all of real estate. It's called a prepayment penalty clause. And while federal regulations have made them less common on standard loans, they are still very much alive, particularly in the world of non-qualified mortgages, jumbo loans, or with certain types of lenders looking to guarantee their profit margins. Lenders make their money from the interest you pay them over decades. When you pay off the loan early, you're cutting off their stream of profit. The prepayment penalty is their way of clawing some of that lost profit back from you. There are 2 main flavors of this poison pill you need to know about. The first is a hard penalty, which is what Mark and Sarah had. This penalty kicks in if you sell your home or refinance it within a specified time frame, usually the first 3 to 5 years of the loan. It's the most restrictive type because it penalizes you for life events you can't always control, like a job relocation. The second is a soft penalty. This one is slightly more forgiving. It only applies if you refinance your loan with a different lender within that restricted period. If you sell the house, you're in the clear. But if interest rates drop significantly and you want to refinance to save money, a soft penalty can still stop you in your tracks, making the cost of the penalty greater than the savings from the lower rate. The calculation of the penalty can vary wildly. Some are a simple percentage of the remaining loan balance, like 2%. On a $400,000 loan, that's an $8,000 fee. Others use a step-down model, where the penalty is higher in the first year and decreases each subsequent year. For example, a 5% penalty in year 1, 4% in year 2, and so on. A 5% penalty on a $500,000 loan in the first year is a soul-crushing $25,000. This is how you lose tens of thousands of dollars. It's a financial landmine buried in fine print. So how do you avoid this catastrophe? Surprisingly simple. You become a detective for one word. Before you ever get to the closing table, you will receive your loan documents for review. When you get the digital file of your promissory note or mortgage note, I want you to hit Ctrl+F on your keyboard. A search box will pop up. In that box, type the word prepayment. Just that one word. The document will then jump to any instance of that word. Read the entire paragraph around it. It will either explicitly state that you may prepay in whole or in part at any time without penalty, which is what you want to see. Or it will outline the terms of the penalty, the gotcha clause. If you find a penalty clause, you need to have a direct conversation with your loan officer immediately. Do not be shy. Do not feel intimidated. This is your money and your future. You need to ask point blank, "I see a prepayment penalty in the note. Can you explain the exact terms, how it's calculated, and for how long it's in effect?" Is there an option for a loan without this penalty? Sometimes, lenders offer a slightly lower interest rate as a trade-off for including a prepayment penalty. You need to decide if that small monthly saving is worth the risk of a massive future penalty. For 99% of people, the answer is a resounding no. The flexibility to sell or refinance without being punished is almost always worth a fraction of a percent on your interest rate. The real tragedy for Mark and Sarah wasn't just the $9,000. It was the feeling of being tricked. The feeling of helplessness. They did everything right, they saved, they paid their bills, they built a life. But by succumbing to the pressure and pace of the closing table, by being too overwhelmed to stop and ask questions, they made a mistake that cost them dearly. They signed a document without understanding it, and that signature had a $9,000 price tag. Protecting yourself from this is about more than just finding a single clause in a document. It's about shifting your mindset. The closing table is not a ceremony. It is the single most important financial transaction of your life. You have the right to slow it down. You have the right to read every single word. You have the right to ask what every single sentence means until you are satisfied with the answer. Don't ever let anyone, no matter how nice or how much of a hurry they seem to be in, rush you through signing a document that legally binds you to a debt the size of a small mountain. Now, once you've confirmed your loan is free of this nasty penalty, you might think you've dodged all the major financial bullets. But there's another trap, one that's even more insidious because it has nothing to do with your lender or your payments. It's a mistake hidden in the legal title to your property itself, a mistake that doesn't just cost you money. It can lead to you losing the house entirely, even if your mortgage is paid off in full. It all comes down to 3 little words on your property deed that over 90% of joint homeowners, especially married couples, don't understand, and choosing the wrong ones can give creditors, estranged family members, or even the IRS a claim to your home. Those 3 little words are how you take title to your property, and they are arguably the most important and most misunderstood words on your entire deed. When you buy a home with another person, a spouse, a partner, a family member, you don't just put your names on the paperwork. You have to specify the legal structure of your ownership. This isn't a small detail. This is the legal DNA of your biggest asset, and it dictates exactly what happens to the property if one of you dies, gets divorced, or gets sued. The scary part? Most people have no idea what they're choosing. The closing agent slides a paper across the table, points to a line and says, "How do you want to hold title?" And your mind goes blank. You might mumble, the standard way? But there is no standard way. There are choices, and each choice has radically different consequences. Let's break down the most common options so you don't make a catastrophic mistake. First, there's tenants in common. This sounds official and proper, but for most couples, it's the absolute worst choice. As tenants in common, each person owns a specific individual share of the property. Can be 50-50, but it doesn't have to be. Could be 70-30, 60-40, whatever you agree on. Here is the life-altering catch. There is no automatic right of survivorship. Let me spell out what that means. If you and your partner buy a house as tenants in common, and your partner passes away, their 50% share does not automatically go to you. Not even if you were together for 30 years. Instead, their share goes to whoever is named in their will. And if they don't have a will, it goes to their legal heirs as determined by the state in a long, expensive court process called probate. Imagine this nightmare. You and your partner unmarried buy your dream home together. You choose tenants in common because it sounded simple. 5 years later, your partner dies tragically in a car accident without a will. You're grieving, you're in shock, and then you get a knock on the door. It's your partner's estranged brother, who they hadn't spoken to in a decade. He informs you that, as their closest living relative, he has just inherited 50% of your house. He doesn't want to live there. He wants to be bought out immediately, or he'll force a sale of the entire property. Suddenly, you're faced with either taking out a massive loan to buy back half of your own home, or being forced onto the street, all while mourning the love of your life. This isn't a Hollywood script. It happens every single day because people check the wrong box. Creditors can also come after that share. If your deceased partner had unpaid debts, the creditors can force the sale of their half of the property to get paid, leaving you in the exact same disastrous position. For most co-owners, especially those in a committed relationship, tenants in common is a ticking time bomb. Now let's look at the second and usually much better option. Joint tenancy with right of survivorship, often abbreviated as JTROS. This is the one most people think they're getting. With joint tenancy, all owners have an equal share in the property. But here is the magic, the key that changes everything. The right of survivorship. This legal phrase is your fortress wall against probate court. It means that when one joint tenant dies, their ownership interest instantly and automatically vanishes, and the surviving joint tenant or tenants absorb that share. It happens by operation of law, outside of any will, outside of any court proceeding. The deed itself acts as the final word. Let's replay our scenario. You and your partner buy that same dream home, but this time you take title as joint tenants with right of survivorship. Your partner tragically passes away. The next day, you take a copy of the death certificate to the county recorder's office, you file a simple affidavit, and boom, the property is 100% yours. Full stop. No estranged brother at the door. No creditors of your partner's estate trying to claim a piece of your home. No probate judge deciding your fate. It's clean, it's fast, and it's secure. It provides the peace of mind that what you built together will remain with the survivor. But it's not a perfect shield. While one owner is alive, their interest in the property is still an asset. A creditor could potentially place a lien on their half of the property. And in most states, a joint tenant can unilaterally sell or transfer their share to someone else. Doing so severs the joint tenancy, destroying the right of survivorship and converting the ownership into a tenancy in common. So if your co-owner decides to sell their half to a stranger, you could suddenly find yourself as tenants in common with someone you've never met, losing that automatic inheritance protection you thought you had. This brings us to the third option, which is like joint tenancy on steroids, but it's exclusive. It's called tenancy by the entirety, and it's available only to married couples in about half the states in the US. If you are married and live in a state that offers it, this is very often the gold standard. Like joint tenancy, it includes that all-important right of survivorship, ensuring the property passes directly to the surviving spouse without probate. But it adds a massive layer of armor. The law views the property as being owned not by two individuals, but by a single legal entity, the marriage itself. This means that a creditor of just one spouse cannot touch the house. Let me give you a powerful example. A husband is a small business owner. His business fails and he's personally on the hook for a $200,000 loan. The creditors sue him and win a judgment. They start seizing his assets, his personal bank account, his car. They look at his beautiful home and see a huge asset. But because he and his wife own the home as tenants by the entirety, the creditors can't force a sale. They can't place a lien that affects the wife's interest. The home is protected because the debt belongs to the husband, not to the marital entity that owns the house. This can be the difference between weathering a financial storm and complete financial ruin. The fortress holds. The only downsides are its exclusivity, only for married couples in certain states, and that the protection dissolves upon divorce. If the couple divorces, the tenancy by the entirety is automatically terminated, and it usually converts to a tenancy in common, at which point creditors could then go after each person's individual half. Finally, for those in states like California, Texas, and Washington, there's the concept of community property. This doctrine generally presumes that most assets, including real estate, acquired during a marriage are owned 50-50 by both spouses. But it's an overlay, not necessarily a replacement for the other titles. A married couple in a community property state can still choose to take title as community property with right of survivorship to get that crucial probate avoidance, combining the benefits of both systems. So what is the common devastating mistake? It's blindly accepting the default or not asking the critical questions. People hear tenants in common and think it sounds fair and equal. They don't realize they've just disinherited their own partner from their home and opened the door for probate, creditors, and estranged relatives to walk right in. Before you sign a single closing document, you must look your attorney or closing agent in the eye and ask this question: what are all the ways we can hold title in this state? And can you please explain the exact difference between them when it comes to death, debt, and divorce? Don't let them rush you. Don't accept a vague answer. Make them draw you a diagram if they have to. Understanding these three little words, tenants in common, joint tenants, or tenants by the entirety, is not a formality. It is the final and most critical step in protecting your family and your future in your new home. But even with the perfect title, your home isn't safe yet. There's a critical moment of vulnerability, a 24-hour window right before closing where over half of all buyers make a mistake out of pure excitement and exhaustion. It's a mistake that can't be undone once the papers are signed, and it can turn your dream home into a financial nightmare the moment you step through the door. And it all comes down to what you failed to do in that final walkthrough. So let's talk about that final walkthrough. Most people see it as a formality, a fun little pre-celebration before they get the keys. They walk in, they look at the empty rooms, they imagine where their couch will go, and they smile. They are so consumed by the excitement of the moment that they are functionally blind. They are taking a victory lap before the race is even over. And this, my friends, is mistake number 9, treating the final walkthrough as a casual visit instead of the final critical inspection it's meant to be. This isn't a tour, it's an audit. It is your absolute last chance to ensure the multi-$100,000 asset you are about to purchase is in the condition you agreed to pay for. Think about it. The last time you were likely in this house for an extended period was the home inspection weeks, maybe even months ago. A lot can happen in that time. The seller's moving out is a chaotic process. Heavy furniture gets dragged, walls get scraped, floors get gouged. A slow leak under the sink that wasn't there before could have been dripping for weeks. A storm could have come through and dislodged some shingles. The seller could have promised to fix the faulty garbage disposal and instead, just disconnected it. You don't know until you check. I knew a couple, let's call them Mark and Sarah, who were buying their first home. They were ecstatic. They did the final walkthrough the morning of the closing. It was a whirlwind. They spent maybe 15 minutes in the house, mostly just measuring a wall for a new TV. They were in a rush to get to the closing attorney's office. They signed the papers, got the keys, and drove back to their new home beaming. The first thing Sarah did was go to the kitchen to get a celebratory glass of water. She turned on the faucet, and nothing happened. Confused, she tried the other sinks. Nothing. They went to the basement. A massive pipe had burst sometime after the sellers moved out their washer and dryer the day before. The basement floor was covered in an inch of water, and the main water valve had been shut off by the seller's agent, who discovered it but forgot to mention it in the rush. Mark and Sarah now owned a house with a flooded basement and a plumbing bill that ended up costing them over $8,000 to repair, all because they spent their final walkthrough daydreaming instead of due diligence. So how do you avoid this? You have to go into that walkthrough with a plan, a cold, methodical, unemotional checklist. First, check the big systems. Turn on the heat. Does it blow hot air? Now turn on the air conditioning. Does it blow cold air? Don't just assume because it worked a month ago that it works now. Run the hot water at every single faucet in the house, kitchen, bathrooms, utility sink. Let it run for a few minutes. You're checking for 2 things: that you actually get hot water, and that there are no new leaks under the sinks. While you're at it, flush every toilet. Make sure they fill and stop correctly. Next, you go electric. Bring a simple phone charger with you. It's the easiest way to test every single electrical outlet in the house. Every single one. Flip every light switch. Turn on every ceiling fan. Open the garage door with the automatic opener. Check the doorbell. You are looking for any new electrical gremlins that have popped up. It might seem tedious, but finding out that half the outlets in your master bedroom are dead after you've closed is a far bigger headache. Then you move to appliances. If the refrigerator, dishwasher, stove, microwave, washer, or dryer are included in the sale, you need to test them all. Don't just turn them on and off. Start a quick rinse cycle on the dishwasher. Turn the oven on to preheat. Microwave a cup of water. Run a spin cycle on the washing machine. You need to verify that these expensive items are in the same working condition as when you made your offer. I've seen it happen. A seller's high-end stainless steel refrigerator suddenly gets swapped out for a cheap, white model from their garage right before closing. The contract didn't specify the make and model, just refrigerator. The buyers, in their excitement, didn't even notice during their quick walkthrough. By the time they did, it was too late. The contract was fulfilled, and they were stuck with a $1,000 downgrade. Now for the most important part of the walkthrough: verifying repairs. Go back to your home inspection report and the repair addendum you and the seller signed. If the seller agreed to fix a leaky roof, get up in the attic with a flashlight and look for new water stains. If they agreed to service the HVAC, ask for the receipt from the licensed technician. If they were supposed to fix a cracked window, inspect it closely. Don't just take their word for it. Sellers, sometimes trying to save money, will opt for cheap cosmetic fixes instead of proper repairs. They'll slap some paint over a water stain instead of fixing the leak. They'll use wood putty on a rotted deck board instead of replacing it. Your job is to be the skeptic. Verify the work was done and done correctly. This is your only leverage point. Once you close, that leverage is gone forever. Finally, do a general sweep for the condition of the property. Look for new damage. Are there new holes in the walls from where pictures were removed? Are there deep scratches on the hardwood floors from the movers? The property should be in broom-swept condition at a minimum, meaning all the seller's personal belongings and debris are gone. You'd be shocked how many sellers think it's okay to leave behind old paint cans, broken furniture, and bags of trash for the new owner to deal with. The cost to have all that hauled away is now your problem if you don't address it before closing. So what do you do if you find something wrong? A leaky faucet, a broken appliance, a promised repair that wasn't done. The first rule is, do not panic and do not let anyone pressure you. Your agent should be with you for this very reason. Document the issue immediately. Take clear photos. Take video. Your agent will then immediately contact the seller's agent. You have a few options here, and it almost never means you have to walk away from the house. Option 1. You can delay the closing. You refuse to sign until the seller makes the required repair. This puts immense pressure on the seller, who is likely trying to close on their own new home. Option 2, and often the most common, you negotiate a credit. You get a quick estimate for the repair, and the seller agrees to give you that amount back as a credit at closing, reducing the amount of cash you need to bring to the table. Option 3. You can have money held in escrow. This is a fantastic tool. Let's say a major repair costs $5,000. The seller agrees to have that amount, or maybe even 1.5 times that amount, taken from their sale proceeds and held by the title company in an escrow account. You close on the house, move in, and then you have a set amount of time, say 30 days, to get the repair done by a professional of your choice. Once you provide the invoice, the escrow company pays the contractor directly. This way you control the quality of the repair, and the seller is still on the hook for the cost. The key is to remember that until you sign those final papers, you still have power. The seller wants to sell the house as badly as you want to buy it. The emotional pressure at this stage is immense. You might feel like you're being difficult or rocking the boat by pointing out a problem, but this isn't about being nice. It's about making the single largest financial investment of your life. A few uncomfortable moments during the final walkthrough can save you thousands of dollars and unimaginable stress down the road. You've successfully navigated every hurdle to get to this point. You've avoided all the traps we've discussed so far. You've aced the final walkthrough, you've identified an issue, and you've negotiated a brilliant solution. You feel like you've finally crossed the finish line. You walk into that sterile closing office, a pen in your hand, a massive, intimidating stack of papers in front of you. And that's where the single most expensive, soul-crushing mistake of all is waiting to be made. It's the mistake of signing your name without understanding what you're signing. It's called closing table complacency, and it's the most dangerous psychological trap in the entire home buying process. Think about it. You've been through a war. You've battled other buyers, you've wrestled with lenders, you've negotiated with sellers, you've stressed over inspections. You are mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted. And now finally, you're at the finish line. The keys are practically dangling in front of you. All that stands between you and your dream home is a stack of paper and your signature. In that moment, your brain is screaming at you. Just sign it. It's over. Trust the professionals. Everyone does it. The closing agent, who is usually a very nice but very busy notary, slides the first document over. They point. Sign here, initial here, and date here. They're not paid to be your legal counsel. They're not paid to explain the intricacies of an acceleration clause. They are paid a flat fee to witness your signature and move on to the next closing. And in that moment of fatigue and euphoria, you're tempted to just do what they say. To blindly trust that the hundreds of pages of dense legalese perfectly reflect the deal you think you made. This is a catastrophic error, because your signature is a legally binding weapon, and if you don't know what you're aiming it at, you can very easily point it directly at your own financial future and pull the trigger. Let me tell you about a couple, we'll call them James and Maria. They did everything right. They saved for years, got pre-approved, found a great agent, and negotiated a fantastic price on a beautiful starter home. Their loan officer, a smooth talker named Rick, had quoted them a great 30-year fixed rate. They were ecstatic. They get to the closing table exhausted but thrilled. The stack of papers is huge. The closing agent is shuffling through them quickly, saying things like, "This is just the standard note. This is the standard mortgage agreement. This is a standard tax document." James and Maria, caught up in the moment, sign where they're told. They get the keys, they pop the champagne, they move in. Life is good. 3 years later, they get a letter from their mortgage servicer. It's a payment change notification. Their monthly payment is about to jump by $600. They panic. They call the servicer, confused. "There must be a mistake," James says. "We have a 30-year fixed mortgage." The customer service rep on the other end of the line says, "Sir, let me pull up your paperwork. I see it here. You have a 5-to-1 arm. Your rate was fixed for the first 3 years, but now your initial adjustment period is coming up." James is floored. He digs through the mountain of paperwork from their closing. And there it is, buried in the fine print of the promissory note and an adjustable rate rider they don't even remember signing. The word "fixed" was a lie. The smooth-talking loan officer had slipped them into a different product, likely to get a better commission, and counted on the fact that they wouldn't read the fine print at the closing table. That $600 a month jump strained their budget to the breaking point. It cost them their financial peace of mind, their ability to save, and nearly cost them the house itself. All because of a signature given in a moment of trust and exhaustion. This isn't a rare horror story. It happens in thousands of different ways. Maybe it's not the interest rate. Maybe it's an escrow miscalculation. The title company calculates your initial property tax escrow based on the seller's tax bill, which was based on a much lower assessed value from years ago. A year after you buy, the county reassesses the property at your much higher purchase price. Your property tax bill doubles, your escrow account has a massive shortage, and your mortgage payment suddenly skyrockets to make up the difference. No one warned you. Or maybe it's a prepayment penalty. You get a bonus at work and decide to put an extra $10,000 toward your mortgage principal to build equity faster. A few weeks later, you get a bill from your lender for $2,000. Why? Because you signed a document with a clause that penalizes you for paying off more than 10% of your loan balance in any given year. Your signature on those closing documents is the most powerful financial commitment you will likely ever make. It says, "I have read, I understand, and I agree to be legally bound by every single word on these hundreds of pages for the next 30 years. Ignorance is not an excuse. The closing agent was rushing me is not a legal defense. My loan officer told me it was fixed. Doesn't matter if the paper says it's variable. The paper is all that matters." So how do you defuse this bomb? How do you walk into that room with absolute power and confidence? You do it by making one simple, non-negotiable demand. You invoke your right. By federal law, under the TILA-RESPA Integrated Disclosure Rule, or TRID, you are legally entitled to receive your final closing disclosure, the CD, at least 3 full business days before your scheduled closing. This is not a courtesy. This is your legal right. The moment your lender gives you the clear to close, your very next communication to your loan officer, your agent, and the title company should be this: "Please send me the complete closing package, including the final closing disclosure, the ALTA settlement statement, the promissory note, and the deed of trust, for my review. I will not schedule or attend the closing until I have had adequate time to review these documents." When you get that package, your work begins. This is your final exam. First, you take that final closing disclosure, and you lay it side by side with the last loan estimate you received from your lender. You go through it with a fine-tooth comb, line by agonizing line. Is the loan amount correct? Is the interest rate exactly what you were promised? To the third decimal point? Is the loan term correct? 360 months for a 30-year loan? Is there a prepayment penalty box checked? Is the cash to close number what you expected? Every fee, every credit, every cent should be accounted for. If there is a single number you do not understand, you circle it. Next, you open the promissory note. This is your IOU to the bank for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Find the interest rate. Read the entire paragraph. Does it contain any words like adjustable, variable, or may change? If it does, and you were promised a fixed rate, you stop everything. This is a 5-alarm fire. Find the section on prepayment. Does it say you may pay a penalty? That's another red flag. Then you look at the deed of trust or mortgage. This is the document that says if you don't pay, the bank can take your house. Find the legal description of the property. It will look like a bunch of gibberish about meets and bounds or lot and block numbers. Compare it to the survey you received. Even a single typo in the legal description can create a massive cloud on your title that can cost you thousands of dollars and a legal nightmare to fix years down the road. You will have questions. You will find things that seem confusing or wrong. This is normal. You compile every single one of these questions into a single organized email. You send it to your loan officer, your real estate agent, and your attorney if you have one. And you do not, under any circumstances, schedule your closing until you have received clear, satisfactory answers in writing. A phone call is not good enough. You need a written record. If they need to fix something, they will issue a new closing disclosure, which in some cases will trigger a new 3-day waiting period. Let it. A 3-day delay is infinitely better than a 30-year mistake. By doing this, you are fundamentally changing the dynamic of the closing. The closing table is no longer a place of discovery and pressure. It is a ceremony. It is a formality. You are not there to read. You are there to sign documents that you have already reviewed, questioned, and approved on your own time, in the comfort of your own home. You walk into that sterile office not as a nervous buyer, but as the CEO of the transaction, there to execute a deal that you control completely. This whole journey, from the first video in this series to this final moment, has been about one thing: taking back your power. The real estate industry can feel opaque and intimidating, designed to make you feel small and reliant on others. But it's not. Every mistake we've covered, choosing the wrong agent, falling for the house instead of the numbers, skipping inspections, ignoring the final walkthrough, and now signing blindly, they all come from the same place: giving your power away. But you don't have to. The knowledge exists. The rights are yours by law. You have the ability to be the smartest person in the room for your own deal. Don't just buy a house. Execute a brilliant financial strategy. Don't just sign your name on a dotted line. Endorse the future you so carefully planned for. When you walk out of that closing office with your keys in hand, the feeling won't just be relief. It will be the profound, unshakable confidence of someone who is not just a homeowner, but the master of their own destiny, secure in the knowledge that they didn't just get the keys to a house, they earned them by making the smartest deal of their life. If this series has armed you with the confidence to take on your own real estate journey, do me 2 quick favors. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because our mission to build real, tangible wealth is just getting started. And second, think of one person, a friend, a family member, a coworker, who is thinking about buying a home, and share this series with them. You might just save them from a 30-year mistake. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Now go build your empire.